Hey, welcome to the Dream Labs. This is Dr. Contrast, and I am live. And believe me, I am really happy to be back on board here today. I want to thank those of you who were maybe tuned in or expecting a presentation last week. And lo and behold, I had a bit of a difficult time because of a thumb injury. I thought was a little bit on the painful side, but the good news is we got it resolved and nothing damaging. There was no nerve damage at all. It's more so an inflammation, but it was just felt like a toothache all the time in that left hand. So I didn't want to take any chances. I'm not one to go to the doctor very often, but this one kind of bothered me a little bit because it's just kind of painful, but much better now. Inflation set up, so here we go. We're going to roll on this thing here today, and I thought it'd be kind of fun. You know, most of the time, I don't know about you, but I just get to the place where sometimes laptops and tablets kind of the same old format. They change the colors, but the basic shape is overall the same. So I thought we'd take a chance here today with some streaming work here and just do some real thumbnail concept sketches based on maybe some what ifs and some potential new shape variations. So hopefully we'll kind of away here, and I'm going to crank away with just a basic marker and a fine line pen. So that's basically the medium here. So once again, thank you for joining forces today. Let's get this thing started with just some very quick, real lucid thumbnail sketches with Copic markers and a fine line pen. So first things first, just kind of black in some areas here and get this thing kind of loosened up. And that's just really quick and lucid. Just kind of put the whole piece together here. Gotta get this guy toned in just a bit. And come back through it and begin to detail it just a little bit further here. So there we are. Basic setup. There she is. And just gonna go back, change gears here. Go to a number 6 gray or number 5 gray, and drop the storage pocket in place here. Real quick, nice and lucid. Nothing really fancy, just looking at some basic concept work here. Just got a little bit of tone back on this side here. Apply that through. Let's get this little storage block put in place. And a bit of this insert piece here and along the base. Take that on through, run that just a bit. Scallop it here. And run that through. And just to put a little bit of a tone up on top here, just going to crank this thing over. That screen setup might be. A little bit of separation. Fill this in. Come back in and just kind of modify it just a little bit as we get this stained in here. Now we've got that. Hit this upper piece and do the same thing with it. As I shift the page here just a bit, kind of get some information on this guy. There she is there. And roughly there. Looking pretty good. Now let's come back in with a little bit of some ballpoint pen here, or some fine line pen. This has been a great pine here. It's just really been interesting to find out. Sharpie makes a new fine line pen that's just really good. I've had a hard time finding the right kind of pen that kind of maintains the ink system. This one has been excellent. So far so good. Come back in and do a little bit of cleanup here. Get that all set. Come back in, a little bit more contrast here. A little bit of reflection in this thing. And again. There we go. Put that there. Let's see what happens here. But got to put that down in place, and then we're going to come back in with a little bit of this, just to kind of juice it up a little bit here. hopefully this will work for us here. It's gonna, there she is. Okay, good deal. A little bit of detail work. Pardon me, you got on the screen here. It's just by a little bit of finessing in this thing. I'm going to take that same tone right back into this upper screen here, this cover. So this is basically phase one, this nice little thumbnail study here, getting this guy to kind of read what the proportions are. Just look at very simple setups here, and we'll come back in and we'll do a little bit of cleanup work here on some of this guy. A little bit of the sidewall. I'll get this back on screen. There we go. Go quick and lucid. Nothing really fancy. Notice too, a lot of fly through on this sketch. I mean, sometimes we get so rigid with this stuff, it's kind of odd in a way because we get really formal with it, and I think sometimes that takes away some of the character of the sketch itself. So let's kind of move along here. Put that off to one side, and let's kind of switch gears here. Let's kind of get in this guy. We're going to the first page here. Try to keep that as straight as I can on the page. All lined up here. I'll move over here just so I'm going to get this thing to move a little bit for us. Stone this in, get it all kind of tuned in a little bit. Kind of that's a little bit of reflection in there. Run that through just a touch. Come back and do a little bit of detail here as far as this little grip section here. The finger grip, the lift, and so forth. There's a bit more definition and separation here. A little more impact on the sketch here. Run that through. Build it back in through here. Take it back into the portion of the section of the sketch here. Let's take that number 4 gray again, and just kind of put that little shadow down below here. Lots of fun. Keep them nice and lucid. Just fly through it all. And come back in here. Let's go to a lighter tone here. Get that on there securely. Let's go back into a little bit lighter surface here. Run this right on through. Nice and quick, very lucid, just to get the idea across. Let's do a little bit of a section change here. Let's get a little more. Just going to core on that guy. Let's come across here and get this a little bit more impact on this sketch here. And the same on this side. And again, more definition down below here. And there's a little trio of sketches here, just very quick little thumbnail studies. Again, laptops, I think today when I opened up the stream here just a little bit, the comment I made was that sometimes this stuff is really boring and there's not a lot of interchange and not enough section change and shape studies, for example, in these laptops and some of these tablets that we're working with here from time to time. So a little bit tone on this side away from the light source. There it is. That's better. And again, same with this. And again, in this little bit of a valley, let's take that right in there, train that through, and kind of combine those two shapes. And there she is. Just a simple little study here. Again, 2 variations or 3 variations in the first theme here. Going through the setup here to get it all started. So there's phase 1. Let me just get this all squared away. We've got a whole bunch of little thumbnail studies we're going to work on here today. So that's the first sketch. And again, I hate to be redundant here, but I've just really found, for example, going out there looking at the marketplace, there's very little animation going on some of these shapes we're dealing with here, especially laptops and tablets. So some of these we're talking about maybe innovation in terms of sliding keyboards and the like that can work with, and some of the lids and some of the storage spaces that this one describes. Could be an interesting little feature to work with down the line here. So there's phase 1. Let's get that guy started. And let's go to phase 2 here. A little bit of a different animal. This one buries inside the shape and it just kind of rolls out of this thing. So let's kind of get this guy to move a little bit for us here. This pivots up. And this slides, the keyboard slides from underneath. It's kind of a hidden situation here. Kind of a neat little feature. Hopefully we can get hold of here. And again, that's that. Let's kind of get the surfaces like that in there. And let's go back in here and work with this. Get these to work a bit. Clean that up just a touch. Come around the valley. And again, let's go back in here and get the base of this guy through here. Let's see if we can get that back on screen. There we are. Turn it down just a bit. And more shadow back in through here. Same here. And we'll go back in, put a nice little solid base on this thing. Let's go back in. Pardon me as I move around here to get this thing corrected. Put some of the surface work together. Get that in place. We'll come back in a bit here and clean up some of the shapes we're dealing with here. I just want to get this really formatted in very quickly. Rid of that. Come back to a little bit of a lighter tone up on top here. Go back to this number 2 gray, bring this across the bow of this thing. And again, up on top. And a little bit behind the form. And last but not least, come back in and kind of clean up that one area back here. Put that number 7 gray. I'm just going to put that in place here. There we go. I got it up on top here. A little more, just slowly, kind of slow this guy down just a bit. There, get that valley to read a little bit better. I have this little offset here, do the same thing. And just be honest with it and just fill it right on in. There it is. Now we'll come back in with a number, I do a number 6 gray or whatever, 5 gray. I'm just going to stain this in first. Get the screen in place. Turn this upside down just for a moment. And just get it started here. And fill that in. And we'll get some of this number 8 gray. Let's do this. Get this nice solid, real good solid surface in here. Pardon me as I turn it upside down again. And we'll rotate this out. Turn this back in place here. A bit of reflection in there. Let's come back in and do a little bit of fill in there so it's not so severe in that reflection. We'll come back in and retune it here. There you go. Some of that in place. Around here. Get this guy to read just a little bit more. There we go. A little bit of highlight on that guy. And we'll just come back with that number 2 again and get a little bit more of that very softer feel up on top here. And take that right on through the front of the form here. And there she be. Now let's come back in here and just do a little bit of finesse work here. And put that aside for a moment. Turn this guy up a little bit here. Let's true it up. Get that edge across the top. And again, this body side here. That means I rotate this guy. And one more turn here. And last but not least, we'll come back in here. A little bit of this. And there she is, a little thumbnail study here of a little 3/4 front, etc. That guy put together, and I think what we'll do is add just a little bit more detail here behind these areas here. You get that shadow to work for us here. And there she is, a little thumbnail study here. Putting it all together, there's one, and let's go to the next one here. That's going to fill this guy right in. Boy, pardon me, losing my voice here just a bit again. Number 6 gray, that's going to get these guys tuned in. Pardon me as I turn this side like so, get this all set up. In fact, you know what? I might just have to put that one aside for a moment here. Go to this bold number 7. Get this guy to ink in real cleanly here. Yeah, that's better. Let me turn this back, set up. Let's do this. Get a little bit more of this impact in this guy. Get the shadow to work underneath there. And we'll do this. We'll come back in a little bit of that number 4 gray. Kind of tone this back a little bit. There she is. Let's go back and get this guy to read as well. Here, this little offset. That does that. Let's come along here. Get this guy to read. And last but not least, come back with a nice letter value. Get this guy to crank for us here across the top of the cylinder. Tone down below. just reinforce that area here. Let's get this guy to kind of crank for us here just a bit. It's like a little soft leather insert piece. And just again, a little bit of detail work. Get this guy to kind of cross across here. There we are. And a little bit of insert piece here. Like that. To that. To that. And we'll just do this. Get this guy all set up here. And there's phase number 2. Just very simple little gesture sketches to kind of put together a package study. See what we come up with here in terms of just tablets and areas that you can kind of deal with, how to work with certain systems, new shapes, new forms, new ways of opening things or articulating the actual volumes themselves. So that's the second study here. Let's go back in here. And we'll add another one here to the mix. Keep them nice and simple as we go here. Pardon me, let's get this number 2 gray here. It's a very simple little operation here. Let's get this the right side here. Pardon me, so I just rotate the pad just a bit here to get started. Ink it all in first here. There we are. Come back again with that number. Let's see, is that the one? I think that was dead. Yeah, let's get a little bit of impact in that separation portion here. That's that. Let's offset just a bit. Maybe this is more of like a metallic lid pattern in this guy, but a little warmness in it. Come back again, a little more impact up on top there. Let's go back and put a little bit of detail in here. And a little thumbnail study. There's just a little value sketch of just the proportions. Let's come back in and get this guy blocked in here. Get the borders in first. And just kind of stain this beauty in there. Let's just do the following here. Let's get this guy, get the face all set up here. Pardon me as I rotate again. Let's do something a little different here. Stand. Come back and have a little fun with this guy. And just about wrapping this guy up. Get a little bit of, boy, pardon me, I'm losing my voice again here. I did with that colored pencil here, or white pencil. There it is. All right, just a little more detail in this thing. And again, digital modules, kind of where we are. There we are. A little thumbnail sketch here. Just putting together some of the values here that we've got together here, and see what we come up with. And a lot of fun, just to keep it animated, very lucid. Nothing's really kind of particularly fine-tuned at all. Just neat stuff to deal with here. Just gonna go back in here, a little bit of shadow down with this guy. And just for fun, it's going to do this. Put a concept in this thing here. A bit of color added, a bit of a different geometric shape. Just a front elevation study. And we'll have a little bit of fun with this thing and just take this thing right down in a nice solid, very impactful. Pardon me as I move around here a little bit. This time we'll take that number 7 gray and just come across the screen. We can come back and detail that thing in a moment. Let's get this number 4 gray. Get this one surface now, kind of combine it. Let's take that shade underneath here. Let's get that really good solid black. There it is. Underneath there with the number 5 gray, if I can find it. There we are. There's that. And put a little bit of detail in this thing. Come across here. Get that screen to read. And last but not least, and let's do this. Let's get a little bit more shadow in this thing there. I'm going to drop this down just a bit. Just going to fill that in with a little bit of shadow. I mean, we're on it. And there she is. Some little thumbnail sketches here, once again. Nice and simple, very quick, lucid, not a lot of detail, just getting a character down. And that's what we want to establish here in these set of sketches here. Yeah, that's the third set. Looking pretty good. A lot of fun. Again, just the whole start of the stream here today, for example, looking at the possibilities of some of these laptops and tablets are just kind of ordinary shapes and so forth, looking at new ways of configuring some of these guys to get it to get more jump to them. So there you go, that's that one. And let's go to this guy. And we'll come back here, get this other study done here. We're on our way. Get this lined up and we're ready to fly here, gang. Very cool. Working with just Copic markers, a little bit of pen work, etc. Just to kind of detail as we go. And that should do it. Culmination of it all here. If we can find the number 4 gray, there it is. Just going to tone this in. Get that down. Get that all set. And we'll just take this on this frame. Okay, so we offset it just a bit. While we're at it, let's go back in and do something a little bit more, a little bit bolder. Let's go some really interesting color combination here. Maybe metallic side on this guy. Keep it nice and easy. Go back to button number 2 gray. Get this guy to read properly here. That's what's coming on that shoulder. Let's put this in place here. We get that little bit of a shadow drop in that handle. A bit of highlight across the top, a bit of shadow here. Same thing underneath. Just gonna work this guy here. Pop out the screen. There we are. Turn this upside down and go the other direction. Just gonna fill that in just a bit so it's a little cleaner. tone on that shadow side away from this thing. More definition. There she is. And the same with this. And let's come back in again. Just a little bit more of, let's see, do I want to go across the top of that with a little bit of number 4 gray, just to the crown to work a little bit? Yeah, that helps. And let's see if we get that number 6, 7. Let's go right down to a nice number 8, 7 or 8 gray here. Here we are. And the screen graphics. Just got to nail down here for a little bit. And one more time, a bit of detail in this guy. And last but not least, add a little bit of definition in some of those ports, and we got it. And there she is. 1, 2, 3. There we are. Little thumbnails here, gang. Just fun to work with. No real urgency, sense of urgency at all. Let's do this. Let's come back in. A little bit of a design change here. A little bit of color change. And let's see if we can kind of get this guy to just blank right in really from the get-go here. Pardon me as I move around again just a bit. That's that. Screen that in. Let's go a bit of value at the top here. A bit of a tone change in this thing underneath. Standard support. Back in here with a couple little element changes. And again, just a little bit of a tone change across the top of this guy. A little bit of a break. And a little shadow here. Man, another little page study here. There we are, gang. So far, so good. Little thumbnail sketches, laptops, and tablets. That's that. Let's go after one more set here. We'll keep it active here. There we go. Come along the page here. There's a mess underneath this guy. Let's keep this one nice and simple. Go right back in here and get this guy rolling here. Nice and easy. Find the right tone. Where am I here? And there it is. Yep. And again, along the body side here. And just a real quick dusting across the top of this guy. Keep it nice and easy. Turn this upside down here. Down in here, a little bit of some of that accent underneath here. Change of venue. There we go. And let's get a little bit of juice in this thing. And these little metal pads are back a little metallic. And touch of that, and we'll come back in here with a little bit of this. Pardon me as I turn this upside down again. And we'll add a little bit of this to it. So, little thumbnail sketch there. There she is, a little thumbnail study here. And we'll come back in and let's just get this guy really to hop here. Now let's clean these guys up a little bit. A little bit of tone in here. Clean this up just a bit. There we go. Got it down here there. Back in and sharpen that up just a bit more. Put a little bit of 7 underneath that guy. Get a little more depth to it. Should be good. Let's make sure we get that nice solid deep black in here. That's better. And a little bit of definition back in there. Let's sharpen this guy up a bit. There we go. There. Let's reflect that in just a bit. And let's see here. Just throw this in place. And we should be in good shape. There we go, everybody. There's just a nice little family of forms here to deal with. Just a little laptop and some tablet studies here to deal with. And then let's just do this and we'll get this thing rolling here. There it is. So, pretty good, interesting family of forms here. Let's get these guys out of the way. We'll just kind of go through a real quick review and get her rolling for today, and just start really looking at some subject matter for next week, which is going to be this real quickly here. Let's kind of line these guys up. There we are. There's the last study we did here. Let me just go back through and I'll get rid of this in just a moment here. A little bit quick review. Just the last study we did. Let's go right down the line here. Opened up with this family of forms. There's sketch number 1, just a nice little family of shapes. And again, I want to really stress the fact that today's exercise is just getting some really lucid little thumbnail sketches on, for example, laptops And the tablets, they're looking at new shapes. I don't know how about you, but you go out there and you see the same old rectangular form. Maybe it's time to change the venue a little bit, do some concept studies on possible changes to the shape, adding maybe storage units or adjustable tablet areas or screen changes and lifting, etc. So it's not as static as just opening up a lid and pushing a button. So there was sketch 1. And here is sketch 2, same process, having the screen sitting inside a tray of some sort that can be kind of closed off and put in a case. And interesting comment too, might be the case where we can look at maybe some studies down the line about doing some really unique cases for laptops and the tablets. There's not a lot of variety out there as well in that category. So that was the second sketch we did. Third sketch, and experiment a little bit of color, some different shapes and forms, some little rounder shape with trapezoidal form, very octagonal looking shapes. But again, not to be redundant, but just again, what do we do with these forms? Can we make them a little more animated and unique in terms of overall character? And this is the next one we did, kind of a stand-up carry-on unit with a little handle up on top. They kind of program on and off. And same static thing here, just a desktop type. Very small tablet, but nonetheless, the new shapes. Last but not least, the last family of forms, and there we are there. When it was all said and done, that's what we had in terms of putting together some real quick little studies. Color accents, different shapes, and for example, this guy could flip up, that could kind of slide back and forth. These are the things we have to kind of deal with here in time to come. But again, today's stream was just working on what about the concept of getting away from the boredom of shape and putting some thumbnail studies together. So I just want to take a moment to thank you very much for coming on board here today. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. If you have a moment, take a quick look at drcontrast.com. That's our website. And while I'm on that subject matter too, we'll be changing some things on the website, updating it just a little bit, and the possibility of moving into some other very exciting areas of interest are coming along as well. So we'll keep you posted. And again, thank you. Take a good look at it, drcontrast.com. And if there's anybody out there that has some things you want me to work on or help you with, if I can, please drop me a note at drcontrast.com. That's my email address. And let me know how things are going for you. And if I can help you in any way with some certain exercises, whether it's perspective studies or light or whatever form, shape, vehicle studies, product design, architecture, give me some idea of what you might want to work with. I'll be more than happy to put together a program for it and hope to assist you. Above all else, thank you for the time today, and I'm glad I'm back on board. Everything's good hand-wise, no real difficulties or just inflammation. So I was ready to fly here today with that confidence in hand. And again, I always close the system with this commentary, and it really makes a huge difference, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much for joining forces today, and don't ever forget to remember to dare to be great. All the very best, and thank you. We'll see you next Wednesday. Take care. Bye-bye now.